Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Capital Wasteland. Today we're going to be looking at Evergreen Mills, or perhaps Evergreen Mill. Interestingly, 3Dog and the Pip-Boy refer to it as Evergreen Mills, however the official sign on the building just says Evergreen Mill. Which is it? I don't know. Now this is an interesting location because there are a lot of raiders here. It's a hotbed for raider activity. However, there is a merchant inside of the facility, which will actually trade with the lone wanderer named Smiling Jack. And also there's a super mutant behemoth locked in a cage just outside of the main building. So let's go ahead and check out Evergreen Mills. And as you can see here on the map, Evergreen Mills is just west of Drury Street Metro Station and north of Tenpenny Tower. And off in the distance, we can see a lot of ruins and old buildings, which I'm sure we'll explore in later episodes. But I figured since this railroad here is already kind of part of Evergreen Mills, we would go ahead and check it out. At the entrance, I found Crow, who is a merchant that travels around Fallout 3. He can be found in several locations, and the reason he's kind of interesting is he is a spiritual merchant who used to be a tribal shaman. So he has some very interesting dialogue and interesting wares. All he sells, though, are a few stim packs and, of course, apparel items. And he can also repair your weapons and armor for you. But besides that, not a whole lot here, but some decent stuff in his inventory. And then at the north end of these railroad tracks, we can find like train tunnels and some super mutants. I was accidentally not wearing my armor here, I noticed when I was using VATS. And the main reason I wasn't using the armor was so I could travel faster, but then I equipped my power armor so the super mutants wouldn't kill me as easily. In this area, there's several dead skeletons, obviously dead. I hope they're dead. And there's also a teddy bear in the shopping cart. I don't know why it's here. I tried to lift it, and then the teddy bear started freaking out, so kind of humorous. But besides that, there's not a whole lot in this area. Heading towards the mill, I decided to come at it from the higher ground. The entrance is this sort of canyon and goes into the valley, obviously some kind of mine. There's a lot of raiders at the entrance here in the canyon, so you're going to want to take them out. I used a 44 Magnum and a sniper rifle, and it was pretty easy. And as you approach, there's like several of these like guard posts, and you can get some health and ammunition from these boxes. So definitely take a look because there's some pretty decent loot within this area. Lots of ammunition and lots of healing. Then as we approach Evergreen Mill, we can find a lot more raiders. As 3Dog says, this is a hotbed for raiders, so definitely be prepared for a long fight. But not necessarily a difficult fight. I had a few close encounters, but overall this was actually a pretty easy place to attack given how many enemies are here. I was fighting this raider from far away. I do not like how the scope works on the hunting rifle in Fallout 3, but I was still able to kill the raider just based on where VATS told me he was. Like I said, there's a caged super mutant behemoth here. However, he is a pain to kill, and using the hunting rifle was not going to be an option. Up on this ridge on the western side, we can find a small shack that's just called Guard Post. And inside there really wasn't a whole lot, but there is a bed where we can sleep and some ammunition. Back outside, I kept fighting the raiders. I'm not sure what happened here, but there was some kind of explosion next to me, and I don't know if it was dog meat trying to kill me or what, but thought that was interesting. I killed the raider and decided to use one of my mini nukes on the super mutant behemoth in order to bring his health down. But even a mini nuke was still not very much damage to him, so then I just used grenades and a mixture of weapons in order to finally kill him. Since he's locked in this cage, he's actually really easy to kill. Now, of course, you could accidentally free him from the cage if you destroy the generator which is powering the electric fence. Upon destroying it, we can enter the cage safely now that he's dead. But if you destroy that before killing him, obviously he can get free and he can wreak havoc on this area. It might be a good strategy to get rid of the raiders, however, then you have to deal with the super mutant yourself. Then on the northern part of Evergreen Mills, kind of behind the facility, we can find the northern shack, For whatever reason, the radio was going off in here, so that is why I kind of cut to a later point after I turned off the radio so I don't get any copyright strikes. But it doesn't really matter, there's just two raiders in here, one of which is a woman dressed in lingerie, so we can assume that these two were getting it on when we interrupted them. Very rude of us. Inside, we can find a lot of ammunition, chems, and, of course, healing items. Also, we can use the bed to get our health up. Down below, we can find a workbench with a bottle cap mine on it, so some decent loot, but besides that, there's nothing of interest inside. And then opposite of that guard post from earlier, we can find the southern shack up on this ridge, obviously at the southern part of Evergreen Mills. Now inside there is a lone raider who has a flamer. I killed him and then used his flamer to repair my current flamer. And there's also some ammunition and stuff in here, along with a skill book, U.S. Army 30 Handy Flamethrower Recipes. And of course some ammunition and healing items, very, very typical. Then we can head into the main facility, and inside there's two main areas. You have like the entrance area and then the bazaar. So obviously first we'll go into the Foundry area. And in here, again, the radio was blaring for whatever reason. My radio is at 0 volume, but for whatever reason, some of these radios continue to play music. This is an issue in Fallout 3, as I've not experienced this issue in Fallout New Vegas. So that is why the volume during this part is so quiet. Inside, there are a couple of raiders and a broken terminal. On the first floor, there really isn't a whole lot in terms of special loot besides ammunition, caps, and healing items. There's also a few weapons that you could take if you want them. So make sure to look around, take what loot you can scavenge, because there is some good stuff down here that could be useful for finishing or killing off everyone else in this place. Also, there's a lot of average picked locks, so coming here with 50 lockpick would probably be beneficial. That way you can get everything here easily, and you don't have to leave stuff behind or come back ever again. And then upstairs we can find a bunch of really good loot. So if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of raiders around here. Using this flamer was really effective against them, so this became my weapon of choice for the rest of Evergreen Mills. Now, if you go to the right back there and you go in this room, you're going to find that stupid radio, along with a raider that, just came out of nowhere and tried to kill me. Now, inside of this room, there's a few notable things. Most notably, there's a nuka grenade on the workbench and a average lock safe, which just contains some bottle caps and chems. But definitely get the nuka grenade, pretty good. And next to the workbench is a bucket, and inside of the bucket are a lot of frag grenades, so definitely a very good find. Also, make sure to loot the desk because there is a key in it for the locked door across the hall. I originally didn't notice the key, but obviously you can use the key to get into the room. However, the room is only an average picked lock, so you can get in relatively easily. And like I said, many things in here are average locked. You definitely want to come in this room because there is a fat man. So take all of the flamer fuel, which was very useful for me, and a very easy safe. And behind me on the counter, there is a fat man, which I used to repair my current fat man. So a really good find that was beneficial to me. And there are also a lot of chems, as you can see on the left there on that shelf, jet, buff out, and mentats. Even if you don't use them, they're worth a lot of money. Now, if we jump down below, we can find a copy of Duck and Cover. You have to jump down on top of this kind of like shack thing, and there's a dead body on a bed. Next to that is the copy of Duck and Cover. And then moving on to the Bazaar. The Bazaar is the place I came the closest to being killed, and it was here that I noticed dog meat went missing. At first I thought he may have died, however, as you will see later, he actually didn't die, just for whatever reason he will not come into Evergreen Mills for me. I couldn't find anything about this on the wiki, so perhaps it's just a glitch unique to me. As you enter, there's going to be a bar, and behind the bar is a bottle of Nuka-Cola Quantum, along with some more healing items, really good. I got a lot of stim packs in this place, so that was really helpful. This bazaar is really cool. You can kind of see how the raiders are living here. There's lots of gambling, there's lots of pool tables, and of course alcohol. And here we can see the entrance to the brothel. And here that raider got blown up by another raider with a missile launcher. And as I turned around, that raider had already reloaded and shot the missile, barely missing me, but almost killing me. Thankfully, the missile launcher takes a long time to reload, and I was able to kill that raider. Then, after sleeping, I made my way up into the brothel, where we can kill all of the raiders up here, and several people who are doing, some not so honest business. But kill everyone up here because inside of the locked cell is a skill book. But besides that, there wasn't a whole lot of loot on this floor. There is a cash register and a hunting rifle, along with some chems. But inside of this locked room, on the bunk next to the toilet, we can find a copy of Nikola Tesla and You. So a pretty good find. Fallout 3 has a lot of skill books, so definitely make sure to take them when you can get them because it'll help out maxing your character's stats. This area is really cool, I thought, and I can kind of see some of the maybe early inspiration for the casinos in Fallout New Vegas. We have these two giant dice, as you can see here. And a little bit of an interesting fact, the raider sitting at the fireplace near the southern shack, which we visited earlier, will hum, whistle, burp, and yawn at random times when considered friendly by the player. Obviously for us, he was definitely not considered friendly and was actually just quite aggressive. Also, outside there is a slave pen with 3 to 4 slaves that can be freed by the player. And finally, moving to the very back of the bazaar, we can find Smiling Jack. Now, Smiling Jack will not attack you, even though there is an aggressive raider in here, and he'll kind of freak out. Just kill the raider, make sure you don't accidentally hurt Jack, because Jack will be willing to trade with you, and he has some somewhat decent loot on him, such as ammunition and weapons. So definitely worth having, just an extra merchant around, I think, so try to avoid hurting him. And even though Smiling Jack is friendly, we can actually steal everything in this room, and there is a locked ammunition box with some energy cells, and there's also 6 cameras in here, which can be useful. In the back of this cavern, we can find a bottle cap mine, along with the bobblehead barter. So really good finds in this area, and oddly enough, none of it is stealing, so thank you very much, Smiling Jack. Now, also worth mentioning on Smiling Jack is his vendor key, which will open his inventory container, so you can actually take a lot of his stuff that is on him if you want to be mean, or if you want to steal, or want to kill, up to you. And there you have it, Evergreen Mills. This is a location I really like, because for the most part, raiders within Fallout 3, and for the most part in Fallout 4, besides the Nuka-Cola DLC, raiders are just kind of these faceless, emotionless enemies that are there for us to fight and to kill. There is no real other point to them, but at least this location kind of gives more humanity or more development to the raiders. We can see they do have like social structures, and they do have an actual like economy within their faction. So I just kind of think it's cool. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any recommendations for the next location, please post them in the comments section below. And, as always, until next time.